What is going on, everyone? It's your guy, Cole Jackson, back here on Road Graders, brought to you today on the Russell Street Report, sponsored by our good friends over at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. And I can't talk Jimmy's right now without talking about what they got going over there. From the bay to the snack aisle, Jimmy's has come out with 3 flavors of chips, and I can't think of a better way to kick off an evening than with either some boardwalk crab dip or Luke's blend potato chips from our friends over at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. Go check them out. Obviously, a staple in Baltimore. Thank you to Jimmy's for sponsoring this episode. We are going to be diving into the film of Mike Green as we continue our series breaking down the tape of every single Baltimore Raven draft pick. And this is obviously one that you guys are one of the most excited for. Obviously, if you follow my channel, I did do one back in February. There will be some similar clips in this one. I did add a game, and it was a pretty critical game. It was against Virginia Tech this year. So I'm excited to dive into that and really supplement it, because now we have his tape with 2 games against the only 2 Power 5 teams he played this year in Ohio State and Virginia Tech, which I think is really important to have those games. And it would be impossible to talk about Mike Green without talking about the reason he slipped. Mike Green slipped in this draft. He was, by all accounts, a top 20 prospect in this draft. Some had him as high as 10. Some had him as high as 7. He slipped in this draft because he has had 2 sexual assault allegations. The Baltimore Ravens spoke on this. I'll start a little bit about the allegations themselves. So one came in high school, and then when he got to Virginia, he signed something. I forget what it's called, a waiver or something that basically, would prohibit him from being involved in something like that. And there was a second allegation while at Virginia, which led to him transferring to Marshall. So he transfers to Marshall after. It is important to note with these things that both were investigated by police. Both were not, like, they didn't lead to charges being filed. And I think what's also really important to talk about here is these didn't come out during the NFL draft process through the media. He actually addressed it himself at the combine. He volunteered the information. He said that he was talking to teams openly about it. He would explain his side because he did not think he was at fault. And what the Baltimore Ravens said about this is, and this is a direct quote from Eric DaCosta post-draft, we got as much information as we could. We considered the facts. We considered the allegations. We considered what the reports actually were and what they actually weren't. And we made the best decision off of that. When compared to Justin Tucker's situation, he went on to say, I don't think it would be fair to either player, asking about the similarities. It's 2 different situations. Allegations are severe. We take them seriously. We look at them individually and do as much homework as we can. And specifically to Mike, I feel as we did a good job talking to as many people as possible. So this is something that essentially Eric DaCosta is saying, we talked to Mike about it. Mike said at the combine, he talked to teams about it. He wasn't trying to hide anything. He was being very open about it. And, what he told reporters then was, actually, there's accusations out there. I've never been questioned. I've never been asked. Nobody has even asked me a question about what happened before I departed from Virginia. It was accusations that caused me to leave, which had to do with the waiver he signed. I have no problem with talking to these teams about it because I know who I am and I know the truth. So he's maintained his innocence or lack of wrongdoing. The Ravens have vetted him under their process, and I'll let you guys make what you will. I'm just reporting the facts and the story behind it. I'll just leave it at that. So let's dive into Mike Green, the player. Obviously, we'll start with his relative athletic score. He only did the agile testing, and I talk about this a ton in the video with his lower body flexion. You see it pop. He didn't run the 40, and he didn't do explosive drills, so we didn't get a final RAS, but you will say he comes in pretty undersized. 32-inch arms is definitely short. He's shorter and more compact, but agility is there. You can see the explosive strength, and what we'll see tonight on his film is his explosive athleticism. So definitely a guy that is seen as being undersized, but makes up for it in a lot of ways, especially against the run. And then when we look at the stats, it just tells such a picture. 17 sacks this year, led FBS, 10 quarterback hits, 32 hurries, just one of the most productive pass rushers in college football last year. You see that 20.2 pass rush win rate on the right-hand side, and it's important that he did have sack production against both Ohio State and Virginia Tech. So obviously some of this is beating up on Sun Belt teams, but when asked to perform against Power 5 teams, he did that. And then if you go back to last year, you see a little bit of a dip in the stats, right? Only 6 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, but this is why it's important to look at proportions. He only had 183 pass rush snaps compared to 354 this year. And it wasn't injury that made him miss games. He just rushed the passer less and played less snaps. So he was in more of a rotation. So relative pressure stats still very high, pass rush win rate still very high, which I think is really important. So, let's leave it at that. Let's jump into what really matters here, and that is the film. So once again, I'm going to just kind of play it here, let you guys watch it, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. And obviously, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of Mike Green. Appreciate y'all. All right, folks, we will get started here looking at the pass rush ability that Mike Green possesses. Obviously, this is going to be the biggest piece that I think the Baltimore Ravens are getting out of Mike Green, is adding him into that edge room with true upside pass rush ability. Now, I talked about this a little bit in the intro, but you will see what excites me the most is the fact that this production didn't just constantly come against small programs. He played against Ohio State and Virginia Tech. That's where we're going to start. And you're going to see splash plays against those two opponents. So it wasn't just, beating up on the Sun Belt. Obviously, he did that a lot. That's why he was the leader in the FBS in sacks. But the fact that he was able to package that against the big boy schools is really where, and then you see him at the Senior Bowl where he's still performing well. Makes you a lot more confident in terms of how that's going to translate. So we're going to start here with taking a look at some of the sack production. So you guys have seen this play. This is the one that's gone viral everywhere, where Mike Green's going to show a couple of things. So wide alignment, you got that 4-eye technique across from him. What that does is it gets this tackle out here into his vertical set where Mike Green can really take advantage of that space. So you're going to see, decent little set. And, I thought the tackle comes out really well here. And Mike Green's ability to set this up. So what he's going to do is he's going to press that inside that lane. And what that does is it's going to freeze him in his vertical step. So you're going to see as soon as he starts to take that lane, you can see right there, this is where that doubt comes in, right? So he's going to start to protect that post step because of that inside route. So we're just going to see that again. Right there, you see him freeze. And when he freezes, he shoots his hands, and that's what Mike Green takes advantage of. So this isn't a play of just him merely running straight at him and hitting a spin move. This is set up, right? So he's going to come inside, set that, and then spin back outside. And what I talked about in the intro, the sure tackling ability. That is the thing that I think Ravens fans should be one of the, not the thing, but one of the things, because when he gets to the quarterback, he's pretty darn good at taking him down. So one more time, just because this was probably the best clip he has of his college football tape. Like, that's just beautiful. Power 5 opponent, it's Ohio State, the eventual national champions. And this was their original starting line because you got Josh Simmons out there with Jackson in at left guard. Obviously, this is against the right tackle, but still nonetheless. And then what we're going to see here, a couple clips in succession, is that front shoulder dip that is really where I'm getting excited about. This is where the Von Miller vibes come from. Obviously, those are lofty expectations, and I know that can be a little hyperbole to make that type of comparison, but in terms of this aspect of his game, he absolutely shows it. So we're going to see that front shoulder dip. Ball comes out, so he's not able to get production on the quarterback, but that's a clear pass rush win. And so you're going to see right here, he's going to jump up and then that inside shoulder dip. So right there, he's going to make him miss his punch, but he's going to be agile enough, fluid enough in his lower body to be able to get low, avoid that outside hand, and then turn the corner right there. And I don't know if you guys understand just how impressive this ankle flexion is. Watch his ankles as he turns that corner. That is a clear curved angle. Like that is tough to find on tape. Guys that are able to bend like that in their lower body, it really helps with his compact build, right? Because he's shorter. He's 6'3", but he's so compact in his lower body. but that's all muscle down there, and that's where that comes from. Like he's just built so well for being a guy that's considered undersized. He's so stout in his lower body. Here we are against Virginia Tech. You're going to see the same thing. He's on the right side and going against the right tackle again, number 70, and you're going to see right there, same type of dip ability, right? So same idea. He wants to get below that outside hand, and right there, he's going to dip below it, get that body low. There's that ankle planting, and he's going to turn towards the quarterback. He doesn't have to take as harsh of an angle here, so it's not quite the same. And there's that lower body tackle again, nice wrap right there. And the quarterback's going to throw that ball away to take the sack opportunity away. But there is another example of him, making the tackle. Good on the quarterback to get rid of the ball. But you're seeing that consistently, him on the wrap-up tackle. Here we are against the left tackle on the opposite side of the line. Inside move. Again, I love the pass rush toolkit. And so here you're going to see him set it up with his first two steps. You're going to see him press that outside and try and get him out into that kick step. Right there. And you can see he does so good at timing it. You can see the left tackle's footwork. As he crosses his face, all he can do is reach. And that's because he's timing those steps so well. He breaks through, gets the chase down, isn't able to get the sack, gets the throwaway though. Back against the left tackle. Going to show that little dip ability again though, but the tackle is able to weather that storm. But what he does so well here is a lot of the time when you see guys go for those outside rush moves, right? So he gets beat on the outside rush move, no doubt about it. Right there, we've created good leverage here for the tackle. He's got that arm extended up into the shoulder pad. He's right up in the armpit we always talk about. Usually you'd see a dead rush where he just kind of rushes him outside of the pocket. Mike Green's going to take that left hand, that inside hand, fight through right there, and create another rush lane. And it's just kind of that consistency, that motor, all those little things that really get me excited, right? It's not just a speed rusher that's going to get washed out of the pocket. That was one of the things that I worried about with a guy like David Ajabo when he was coming out, because on some of those outside rushes where his speed wasn't able to beat the tackle, you saw him just kind of get ridden out the back of the pocket and then the play's over. But with Mike Green consistently battling and going into those secondary pass rush moves, that's really where the ceiling starts to show. Back against the right tackle here, he's going to go in for the power move, pick up by the running back. So he's going to, they use a nice little play action here. And just showing here, again, that tackling ability, right? He's just such a sure tackler, able to get the sack there. Less of an impressive pass rush move to be able to get it, but fighting through the double team and then still getting the wrap up. Really shows his contact balance. Really good stuff. Here you're going to see him go for the SWAT on this. Again, he's going to use that skip, try and go low, hands up, come back inside. Does miss the sack there, and then wraps up at the end, and there's a throwaway. But what I like here, again, is that secondary pass rush move, right? So there he goes for the outside. And again, instead of being washed, he's going to spin back right there, dive. He's going to come back. He's going to keep fighting through the rep, end up with the leg tackle. So going into a secondary and even a third pass rush move there. Back on the left side of the line. And this was a sack. I know it looks like a miss, but this is why we got to break it down. So you're going to see as he breaks free here, that hand right there, that very clear hold. I don't know if it gets called. I kept looking at the play, looking at the refs. That's obviously a clear hold, because the reason that this is a hold is because he can't bring his back arm through that right arm of his, which would actually be his inside arm. So just go back a little bit as he beats him. So, another clear win here. Doesn't get the sack from it. You're going to see a little short stack. It's kind of like they're trying to do the play action pass. So what the tackle's trying to do here is fake that inside step to go with the run fake, right? Because it looks like a play action. It looks like they're trying to make it look like a run left. So he's going to hit that step right there. And then the whole idea is for him to come back and just seal here. But Mike Green's athleticism, his ability to fight through this, creates that short corner. And because he's able to plant his foot into the ground, where's that low ankle? As soon as he gets to that contact point. Oh, video's frozen. Just a sec. Okay, I'm at 57 seconds of that. Bring that back up. Back to 57 seconds. There we go. So as he's going to plant that foot, create that short corner, explode through, gets held. I don't see a flag come out. I don't know if it got called from the other side, but There's a throwaway, all caused by that quick pressure from Green. Now we get into some of the Sunbelt games. And again, I know a lot of people are going to talk about the competition, but some of the stuff he does in these games is just ridiculous. So here he is on the right side of your screen, going against 56 to right tackle, ends up on the tight end, spin move, sure tackler right there. Does this so consistently. Here again, I'll take a minute to kind of look. So he's going to start against the left tackle on this side of the line. He ends up actually rushing to the A gap on the right side of the center. So he's going to run a little stunt. But what I want you guys to focus on through this entire rep is his lower body. As he starts to come around and then he turns the corner, see him step inside there, goes around, and you can just see how fluidly he moves. Let me get that out of your way. Just watch how fluidly he moves. He looks like a running back sifting through gaps. And then again, there's that tackle ability. Does it so consistently. We move inside here. They come out with, this is obviously a third down situation. They have a 5-man line with a running back, so a 6-man protection against a 4-man rush. And then here you're going to see him go outside, and he's going to continue to fight through that and get another sack. So he has to obviously start inside and run the bend here to get around, but again, that athleticism, that explosiveness, he's able to get there, makes the tackle. So consistent at doing it. Couple things I liked here. Gets in there on that. I don't think they credited him for that one. I think he only had 3 sacks in this game, not 3.5. So he's going to end up coming inside and winding up because they're going to bring a DB here off the edge. 56 is going to kick out to him. He ends up one-on-one with the right guard. And there's just, again, that dip ability, right? So he's going to dip under, and then he's going to use his inside hand to rip up against the hand right there, clear the hands, get around the corner, and look at him just turning and like, he started here, and then he just went in a big 360, ended up back there as he's chasing the quarterback. Here we are against, this is Louisiana Monroe, ULM. Obviously, these are the ones like he's beating up on guys that he's just way better in. He's going to do a little gap exchange here. You see 9 step up into the edge player, puts him into the B gap as a lined up as a stand up 3 technique, and here we just see swim over. Just ridiculousness the way he's just too athletic for these guys. But just good to see that kind of pass rush package. Him going to the swim move. See right here, he's going to swim back inside. They basically slide to him here off the play action, so they want to run a bit of a bootleg. 56 is supposed to get over there. He splits the 2 of them. And then once again, what am I constantly talking about with him? Look at that wrap-up tackle. He just attacks that ankle. Such a sure tackler. You just love to see that. This is actually, I thought about this after. This is an option run concept. I have it included in the pass rush ability. It was really because of this quick move inside. He obviously has number 10 out here, so I am going to show a run play. This is just a bad cut up by me. I should have had this with the run plays. I noticed it when I was going through making notes. But you're just going to see him cut inside. I originally thought it was a play action pass, but it looks pretty clear to be an RPO that turns into a run. So, but just showing that interior penetration he had there. You're going to get motion there from the tight end. He's out wide as kind of that edge outside linebacker here against right tackle. And again, another play action pass. But you see that relentlessness, and he makes contact there. Can't really see it because of the bodies and the blurriness, but he makes contact and gets that ball out. So just, again, the relentlessness in his rush. He bends the edge consistently through it. Quarterback dives back on the ball, but as he turned the corner, he was able to strip it. So gets the forced fumble there, even if it is recovered. Another play action pass, ends up with a tight end on him. And there's that relentlessness of him rushing. So he's going to come back inside and then be able to turn the corner. He doesn't get the chase down tackle there. So not completely perfect in that regard, but pretty clean. So when I look at his pass rush ability, I see a very complete picture. We see him win in a lot of ways. I think the one area he needs to progress in is his ability to use that explosive athleticism and convert speed to power into some of those bull rush opportunities. So the way he can develop a long arm, the way he can get under guys' pads, I think that's something that I didn't see a lot of. It just wasn't something he used. So it's not like he's doing it and having dead rushes. It's just, it wasn't really in his bag. He was more of a speed rusher. Even on his rushes inside, you're seeing a lot of those, swim moves, spin moves, those sorts of things. So I think his ability to develop that speed to power conversion, that's what's going to take him to the next level at the NFL level, because when you're able to, turn those bull rushes into spins, or, you're beating a guy inside with a long arm to his inside hand, and then you're pairing that with your ability to dip and rip. That's where some of these high end, top 5 pass rushers, that's really where they separate themselves. You get into the run stop ability. I'm not going to show all of them in this, but just to give you guys a reference, I had like 23 clips that I could have used to show this, because he is a force against the run. He's a complete player. He isn't just a pass rush specialist. I think he's very good against the run, actually. So here you're going to get an inside zone run here from Ohio State, and he's going to end up with a tray block. So the tackle and the tight end doubling him. He's right here. And so as that happens, you're going to see 2 things. You're going to see him push off on the back shoulder of 70. So he's going to shed here, push that zone block up field, and then he's got to take care of 89, right? So they want to squeeze this double, 89 take over, 70 into the second level. So he's going to push him off to avoid the double, because what that does is it creates an early one-on-one, right? So usually what you want to see in this double is them squeeze you, drive you, and then 89 takes over through the drive. But Green's actually going to push him off, because he's going to re-engage 80, and then you can see right there, as 89 gets to him, that hand right there, that inside arm goes up here, pushes off, and then that arm comes over right there. And he creates that inside tackling lane and gets on. So this is an A-gap run. So this is going up the right side A-gap. He's that edge defender with a tight end. So he's going to deconstruct 2 blocks and still make the tackle. Freaky stuff. This actually ends in a touchdown. So it's like one of those weird plays, but you're going to see him cross the face of the right tackle here, end up over here. And if 7 could hold, like, you can see how empty it is right here. So they have, that'd be a 3-tech, and then they have an opposite side 2-eye technique. So they left both A gaps empty with 1 linebacker in the middle. This is just bad alignment on defense when you're on the goal line. And so you're going to see 7's going to get absolutely destroyed by the right guard. But watch Mike Green penetrate. You can see him cross the face and work down the line of scrimmage. If this gap wasn't so big because of the alignment, Green's probably getting some sort of help. If 7 could just go right, but he still almost makes the tackle through that. Ends up in the end zone. It is a touchdown, but that's just one of the things but Mike Green penetrating here, again, creating that leverage, that contact. This is where I think he can convert speed to power, because you see him jack up 70 right there. Jacks up that inside shoulder. You see his head get inside. That's exactly what you want to see. And then he works down the line. So he didn't give up any ground, right? He's right at the line of scrimmage, and he's working laterally. He just wasn't able to get there because of that massive gap between the 2 defensive tackles. You see it here against Virginia Tech as well. He's going to end up one-on-one with the tight end. Easy shed, stack and shed. He's going to stack right here. Again, 2 hands right there, using his hands very effectively. Stack, there's that shed, that arm over, and then down the line makes a tackle. Almost tackle for a loss. Another very good play. Here you're going to see him fighting through traffic. That's similar to that Ohio State play. So they're going to bring a puller and a tight end motion. He's going to get outside of the right guard. The tight end's going to be there, and then he's going to work through both of them, just like that Ohio State play. He works through both. Doesn't end up, making the primary tackle comes in, but, his ability to work through all that traffic with his hands consistently active is why I think, this isn't stuff you see from situational pass rushers, right? This is complete edge work right here. Another play against Virginia Tech. He's going to cut in the gap. You see 4 coming up to fill the outside, setting that edge. So he's going to jump into that B gap right there, take on that guard, shed him pretty easily. Not sure if he gets pulled down here or trips, but that was another tackle for a loss opportunity. This is supposed to be a run that goes back that way, but there is a lane right here potentially if he gets sealed. But he forces that running back to cut where his teammate can come in and make a tackle. So just again making a play even if he's not making the tackle. See him right there deconstructing. He does miss the tackle, but that's a pretty darn good deconstruction. Good on the tackle here. What the tackle did so well is as he's getting beat, he drove through the hip right there and kind of tripped him up a little bit, which is good enough. Doesn't draw a penalty. It's all good. But again, you're seeing that consistent hand usage. And again, that hand usage, because we're seeing it in the run game, I think is going to pair well with the explosive athleticism into the pass game, and that's why I think he can develop that pass rush, that power pass rush game. So it isn't just me being hopeful, it's taking what he does in the run game and how effective he uses his hands and projecting how that can lend itself into the pass rush game at the next level under Chuck Smith, Dr. Rush. Here we are, back against Southern Miss. We're going to see him blow up right there, make the one arm tackle. Does that pretty consistently. You can't leave him unblocked. This is supposed to be one of those unblocked option plays. He just gets in there so quickly to the mesh point. That's going to lend itself really well to the next level in terms of those explosive plays, because this is something that TJ Watt does to the Ravens all the time, because they're going to leave that backside edge player unblocked. And the whole idea is because he's reading the mesh point to see if the running back or the quarterback gets it. But Green comes in so fast with that explosiveness and just completely blows it up. See him cut inside here, take on the blocker. That's, again, there's that physicality. So they're going to pull. He's going to blow it up, still make a play on the ball. Very physical, very active hands in the run game. Again, unblocked. Doesn't matter. He gets right after him. You can't leave him unblocked. Can't make him the read man. He's too explosive. Again, deconstruct that block on the tight end. Get back inside. Tackle on the ball. Consistently doing a lot of the little things really well. They're going to try and kick him out here. This is supposed to be just a backside kick out block where he just needs to seal that shoulder. Green's going to be explosive, work across, tackle on the ball. Very, very consistent in that game. Let's go wrap it up. All right, so there you go, folks. I mean, that's a pretty in-depth look at what I think he brings in both aspects, the pass rush game and the run game. So this is what I want to hear from you guys. Drop those comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed that breakdown, hit that like button, hit subscribe if this is your first time over here at Road Graders. And once again, big thanks to Jimmy's Famous Seafood. 3 flavors coming out with these chips. Get over to a spot that has them, get them into you. And just to kind of sum up my thoughts, I really like this pick. I mean, like, this is obviously there's risk involved with the allegation issues, and we'll have to see what happens, how that evolves. I haven't dove a whole lot into it beyond just what's publicly reported, but it's definitely a risk, no doubt about that. But when you look at Mike Green, the player, and what he does on field and what he brings, this is a player that is a top 20 consensus talent that shows on film. He has all the athleticism in the world. He's very physical. He can play both the pass and the run. It's the type of complete edge player the Baltimore Ravens have been chasing for quite some time. And so that's what gets me the most excited about what he could potentially bring to this team. Again, a couple of the areas I think he really needs to improve: converting speed to power in the pass rush game to be able to unlock the power rush and be able to add that into his arsenal. That's probably the biggest piece. And I do see some very hopeful things in his run defense, his use of his hands, how physical and aggressive he is, how he takes on blockers. All those key things that I see were things that I didn't quite see out of a guy like David Ojabo, who also needed to develop that power side. So that makes me pretty excited. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Again, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here. And as always, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Peace out, everyone.